Okay, at this step we're going to show you the placement of where to put your trim. And what we did is we numbered them, and you're just going to match up the numbers. And you can also, if you have a pneumatic gun, shoot them in, or we'll include the hot dipped galvanized finishing nails. So up front here at your front gable, you got number 1, number 2, and number 7. So what I would do is just match up, when you find a piece of trim that has number 1, just match up those numbers directly, and flush it up out here, and then push it up against your battens, and go ahead and just start nailing it down. And you're going to nail through the trim, nail through the siding, into this back framing. And then the next one will be number 2, this one right here. Do the same thing. Flush it up on the outside, and it should butt up perfectly against this piece. Nail this in. And then once both of those are in, you have number 7, which will go right up here. It'll actually sit on top of 1 and 2, and go ahead and nail that in. And then come on inside the head house. Here you'll have number 3, 4, 5, 6. And it probably is a good idea to go in the order of 3, 4, 5, 6. So take your number 3. That's going to flush up both the outside here. Nail that in with finishing nails. Take number 4. That'll go in like that. Just make sure everything's centered up as you're shooting it in or nailing it in. Just center that up, nail that in. And then the next one will be number 5, which will sit right here. Make sure it's nice and flush at the top, nail that in. And then the last one in here will be number 6. That's going to go up in there and sit in just like that. Nail that in with your finishing nails. And then let's go. Okay, what we're going to do now is show you how to put on the corner trim pieces. You're going to have four corner trims. 2 have this kind of funny L cut here. The other 2 do not. What we did is we numbered each one, so this corner is 8. And then all you're going to do is kind of get it into place. It is going to be a custom snug fit. So just take your time, tapping it in there. Just like that. When you get that in all the way, go ahead and take your finishing nails or your pneumatic nailer and nail this in on both sides, going all the way up. And then you can go over to number 9. And it'll slide in. Kind of the secret is just to kind of try to slide it in evenly together. So there's number 9. Over here is number 10. Again, just take your time putting it in. And then the last corner trims will be number 11 over here. Alright, in this step, what you're going to want to do is take this piece of wood right here. It's just a 1.5 by 1.5, a little over 5 feet long. And this just tucks right up into here. And then you can take your face clamp and just clamp it in and then drive all these screws in. And what that'll do is a couple things. One, helps bridge this seam right here. But more importantly, when you go to put your trim in on the back side, gives you something to nail into. And then also attach the bottom of the edge of the siding here. That'll give you something to attach into. Okay, after you put this 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch piece in behind the siding, in your kit will be these little 4D, the hot dipped galvanized common nails. And what you can do is, probably where it's not varnished, take your nails and tack these down, tack the edge of the siding down into that 1.5 inch piece. And then after you do that, the next step will be to put the trim in over top of it. Alright, so the rest of your trim on the back here, 12, 13, so 12. This will go up here like this. You got a sandwich this trim piece in between here. And then take number 13, match those numbers up. Easier to start down at this end. So what was that? It was 12, 13. And then you got these little guys here, 14. And just pay attention to kind of where the varnish hole was. You can see there's a little white spot there from this batten. And the idea is just to tuck these in there nice nice and tight to hide that seam. And then right here, number 15. Again, try to put it in straight. If you go in cockeyed, it'll get jammed up. It's meant to fit in there perfectly nice and tight like that. And then the last one is 16, right up here. They'll fit like that. And again, you're just gonna nail them all in with the finishing nails or a nail gun. This is gonna be kind of self-explanatory. We're not gonna put it on, but you'll get the idea. Here's your deep litter door. So when you go to put this on, which you could probably save this almost to last, since we're back here, we'll just show you. I'm gonna leave these black screws in down here. They are also a number 2 square head bit, so you use the same square head bit you've been using. Just pull them screws out and then match up the screws to the hinges, and the door will sit in just like that. So just reuse those screws, line up the holes. We've already done all the alignment for you. And the only difference probably will be at that point is we'll already have your high density screwed onto this for you and your barrel bolts. So the only thing will be different. That's the only thing that'll be different from when you see it in person. All right, what we're gonna do in this step is show you how to put in what we call your floor supports. There's 4 of them. We labeled all of them FS for floor support. At each end there's gonna be 2 pocket screws. And what I like to do is start the screws just a little bit. No need to have them come out yet on the other side. And then put the 2 in on the other side here. Alright, so then take your floor support. There really is no correct order, up or down. All you're doing is you're screwing these in to help support the flooring. And what I like to do is put these in here. And I just push the floor support right up against this cleat. Important thing is make sure it's flush to the top here so your floor can sit evenly on it. And go ahead and screw it in. There we go. And then do the same thing on the other side here. And then you're going to repeat that same exact step 3 more times. The only difference is going to be that in the middle, because we had to get your coupe on a 4x6 pallet, we had to break your flooring in half. It was just too big. So you're going to have 2, I guess it'd be like 45 by 45 inch sections of high density. So what you can do is just screw these in if you want. And you can just flip these around this way so the pocket holes are on the outside of each side. Screw that in, and then you'll have a second one that'll come in on this side. So this basically would be a double to catch that seam. And then your last 4th one, same thing. Just screw it in right here, making sure you're flush to the top of the cleat. Alright, after your 4 floor supports are in, now you can drop your high density floor in, and that's going to be these 2 pieces right here. It's just 1/2 inch high density polyethylene. And easiest way to do this is they're perfectly square, so it doesn't matter really which way you go. And okay, so I lied, it will matter. It'll only go one way. I guess what I should say is it doesn't matter which way is up or down. There we go. So that'll fit in there like that. And then we'll grab the other piece and drop it in on the other side. Alright, one thing I wanted to show you is just a little tip. Just in case if your hen house isn't quite squared up yet and the floor doesn't fit in perfectly, try to tweak the hen house so you can try to square it up. And if it's still not fitting in perfectly, one little trick that we just did here to help drop it in is if you have 2 people, kind of lower it together and you're going to pinch it. Go nice and slow, keeping it together, and drop it down in. And kind of, it's one of those work smarter than harder things. Alright, after your floor is in, what we're going to do now is put in the side walls, your deep litter, and you're going to have 6 1/4 inch thick high density panels. You're going to have 2 that are short, these ones right here, and then you're going to have 4 that are almost equal length, but one is shorter than the other. So all you got to do is just take all 4, grab your 2 longer of the 4, okay? So I'm going to take these longer ones and start with these. And I'm just going to take them, set them in the back here. And the reason why there's 2 is we just had to split it in half again for shipping purposes. And this is when you're going to need your 1/4 inch square head bit, and you're going to have several 1.5 inch pocket screws. These guys right here. And I'm just going to put a couple in, but you'll have plenty to kind of just go around maybe every, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches. You don't have to do a lot. But just make sure you got them both in, and I'm just going to start them right here for you. So I guess when you get it, maybe match up those holes. You don't have to if they don't match up. So I'm just going to screw them in. And it actually wouldn't hurt on this seam to go down at the bottom here. Catch that. And then here. Okay. So again, you're just going to go with the 1.5 inch screws every 6 to 8 inches, going right on down. And then you just put one about a couple inches from this edge wall here. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put that in there just to hold it in place. You only need one at the top, and then shorter ones, please. And then take one of your shorter ones, and that's just going to tuck in right over here. You should be flush right here to this edge and flush to the top. And then you're just going to put a couple screws in here. At the bottom. Just like that. And then you can get away with putting another one right about here. And I'll just put another one in right here. Alright, so now you're going to grab your 44.5 inch length sidewalls. And then what this is going to do is just sandwich between the shorter piece and this longer piece in here. Take some of your 1.5 inch screws. Doesn't really matter where you start. And just screw it in. What I like to do is just work my way on down, kind of rolling it out. And then one in each of the bottom corners here. And then you're just going to do the same exact steps to this side over here with the shorter piece, and then with the 44.5 inch. Alright, what we're going to do right now is show you how to put on your egg hutch. And there is another video on how to assemble the egg hutch that you would have to have already watched to know how to assemble it at this point. So what we're going to do here is show you how to put it on. So having a person hold it, and you can use these battens to your advantage, so you can rest it down below, and just like that. And then come around on the inside here. Take your 2.5 inch screws. And what we're trying to do first is flush this up left to right, or right to left. So we're just flushing that up on both sides. And no matter where you start, we'll just take our 2.5 inch screws, starting in these pre-drilled holes. And then you got 2 screws here on each side, and then 3 more at the top. So you just go ahead and screw all them in. And after you're done screwing these in, you're going to do the same exact thing to the other side for the other egg hutch.